there is a particular issue in which Philip Edward Alexander would have been highlighting to you, the people. In which we would have seen that it is necessary for we as well to speak on this matter. But before we go into the long dialogue in which Mr. Philip Alexander would have placed on his social media platforms, we are going to give our 2 cents before we play that video in full. The fighting that is taking place right now within the UNC, it could be catastrophic. Because the average man on the street, politics, they don't see it as an integral part in their life and in how they function on a daily basis. So that leave it up to us, to the custodians, that understand how politics affect each and everybody. And what we are saying is this, what the people are saying is this: the last and only hope that this country have as to rid the evil that is plaguing our lands right about now is the opposition. And if infighting could have dire consequences as to what is taking place. And this must stop. It must stop. It needs to stop. Think. Breed the egos. The corn that somehow you feel other people mash. Now is not the time to play that type of game. The people that is sending nasty, stinking texts and voice note to other people and calling them all kind of names, that had to stop. And the only reason why I make certain things public with that is concerned is my respect and my admiration for certain people that would have came to my aid in times of trouble. Stop it. This infighting needs to stop. And the man in which I would have hold in such high esteem is Lennox Smith. All of us, we need to come together to save Trinidad and Tobago from this abyss that it is being plunged into. It needs to stop. So what we are saying is this: if any one of you had to reach out, call a meeting, Kamala Prasad, Miss Kamala Prasad, Miss Sessa, Miss Jolene John, or you call meetings, meet and treat with these issues. Trinidad and Tobago is depending on it. I never thought I would make a video like this. But There are time to call in the troops. Marsha Walker, you have a part to play in this. Rodney Charles, all of you have a part to play. Rushton, we all have a part to play. So again, to the people outside here, we are going straight into the video from Philip Edward Alexander, and we ain't coming back. I want you to understand the gravity of this situation. It's not always about us. Not always. It's not about us. Me, I'm a tough fact. It's not about workers' rights alone. That's what I mean. It's about all of us. We have a part to play in rescuing and saving our country. Let's stand together united in one accord. And with that, I am out.
So, last night, I ended up in a little conversation with a former UNC spokesperson. And I'm trying to explain to that person why now is not the time for the infighting. And she's not getting it. And I need Trinidad to understand this is why those who benefit politically, especially from like the PNM and stuff, are pumping money into every little third party and every little thing that could disrupt the vote so as to keep the PNM in power, because PNM feeding them. PNM feeding them. People who didn't have a posy to piss in before are millionaires today. People who are millionaires are billionaires now. They come out nice. They've well fixed. They don't need anything from Trinidad again. They could take all their billions and their hundreds of millions and they could leave and they could go and live anywhere in the world and live nice and never have to fart on Trinidad again, while you and yours have to go and sit down on a hard bench in a public hospital and take disrespect from public servants in every regard. And get a government that's just trying to jam you and fine you and tax you just to be able to thief some more. But I wanted to explain something to her. You see, now, when I jumped back in, it was really just to defend Kamala from Gary, you know. You see, Gary Griffith came to disrupt the UNC for those people. And the only reason he boiled down like Baji is because I came and defended Kamala, because he couldn't fight me. He couldn't fight me. He knew that the moment I came and defended Kamala, it propped them all right back up and he became irrelevant. So he went on Stephen Reed's show and said, no, he's still laughing bad, he's still inside, no problem, whatever. And hear me, that is not my concern. But it's not just him. You see, those people are using every means and mechanism and every machine and every tool and every one of those who are willing to be led astray to do their dirty work, because Kamala is not strong now, and Kamala's team is not strong. Let's be honest, right? And the reason I've said to every media and on every interview that I've asked for nothing is I want to be able to speak. I want to be able to speak without having to worry about whatever position I negotiate for. I want nothing. This is still for a better Trinidad and Tobago. But Kamala is very weak. And she doesn't have a team around her. Like when Jack Warner, who is a very powerful person, he was able to bring all of the people who didn't necessarily agree together around the table and form the People's Partnership, which is what broke the PNM. And he used Kamala Prasad Bisesa as the person to gather around. But it was Jack that did the work. There is nobody in the UNC now that could do this. And Gary and Marsha and others telling people that the reason I defended Kamala still is because Munilal paying me. Of all the bullshit that they could talk. But that's all Griffith good for. Griffith is just nasty. If you're not agreeing with Griffith, he'll come in your mailbox and attack you and cuss you and tell you. If you see the things, Wayne Sturge screenshot things that Gary tell him about his jockey shorts and all kind of shit and sent to me. And I say, but this man is a child. But he's good at that. He's good at calling your PNMB team and Monilal paying you. And he's just very good at dirtying people. And Gary Griffith represents the nastiness of politics that I really never want to have a part of again. And I'm saying this to Trinidad and Tobago. If elections reach and the UNC have any alliance or any arrangement with Gary Griffith, I will withdraw my support and I will make a decision as to what I am doing with it from there. Because nobody wants that animal anywhere near power in this country again. But let me move on from that. Monilal is damaged. Monilal can't pay nobody. Monilal can't organize nobody. Watson Duke is damaged. Watson Duke that was being groomed to bring into the UNC as the replacement for Tobago organization of the people, he badly damaged. I don't think Farley talking to them. I don't think Farley interested in anything in the UNC. So they are in a bad position and they're very weak now. But if everybody stands together, election time, the voters in Trinidad are very unsophisticated, low information, lazy people. And they will say, okay, look, everybody against PNM, we will vote for this, whatever this is called now. And you will break the PNM. Now, that's not to say that I believe that the 1% has not infiltrated the UNC. I'm waiting to see if rituals really do get to put a ritual store inside the Chaguanas market. And if the vendors and the customers and the farmers do not protest rituals going inside our market. Because I want to tell you something, they have malls in this country that engaging in culture wars, that wouldn't let doubles outside, wouldn't let roti inside, you know. Culture wars going on right now. Burger King and KFC and McDonald's destroyed African food culture in this country. You need to break people's identity to be able to control them. They've never been able to break Indian identity because of Sat Maharaj. Sat dead. And everybody who come to replace Sat is a joker and a lightweight. Sat had East Indian identity as his forefront. That's what he was fighting for. And because of Sat, you had Indian variety and Mastana Bahan. You have a doubles box on every corner and a roti shop everywhere. It is Sat that made people of Indian descent survive after the recalcitrant minority bullshit of Eric Williams and that division in Trinidad and Tobago. And don't ever forget this. But right now there is a mission to own all of the big retail outlets and bar Indian food. Believe that. And you'll see it. Go in all the big malls and watch. Find the roti shop. Go and find the roti shop because roti is still Trinidad's #1 best-selling fast food. And doubles is the #1 breakfast food in the country. It is a massive player. Doubles represents about 50% of the total food spend on a daily basis. These are all asides, but I'm telling you that if rituals gets into Chaguanas market, that is a serious disruption. And the people of Chaguanas, the consumers, the customers, the vendors, the farmers should not allow that, should not accept that, should not tolerate that, should boycott every ritual. And tell us something, the 525,000 Indian people in this country is a massive, massive spender without their money. You see the same way Afro-Trinbagonians spend money and hold up KFC? It's Indian people that holding up Starbucks. It's Indian people that walk around with them $70 cup, take a look at being nice and a foreign. If they stop spending money at rituals and Starbucks and those companies, all fall down. Because them spending their money. And people need to stand up for those things. But I want to come back to the point I was trying to make. That the UNC, if the UNC does not stop that, if the UNC, Faik Mohammed is a UNC appointed mayor, Kamla Prasad Bisesa has the authority to tell him no rituals inside the market. Now, Jerlene John is the deputy political leader of the UNC. She's my friend. I love her. But Jerlene John was a CEO of Pizza Boys Group, which owns rituals. So I'm saying to Trinidad and Tobago, it might already be a lost cause. The 1% might be infiltrated in both. Right now, the only reason I still am willing to give the UNC some support is, I'm telling you, because I built the strongest third force in the country's history. And it still wasn't enough. And Trinidadians are not. I just had to tell somebody on an Express article. I just said, who said, we care, but people not taking us on the top. I said, it's not about the top. The bottom in the whole world is who dictates what government does. The bottom is who dictates. But we are too lazy to get uncomfortable for our country, so we don't put country first, and that's all right. And I was just talking to Satish Ramsaran, and we spoke about the amount of years of life and time with family and business that we gave up for this country to prove a point that it was possible to fix. It could fix. But Trinidadians are going to pay a price for their political irresponsibility and their laziness with their democracy. Because I want you to understand that, you see the race politics that you're talking and the culture wars and all that bullshit, that only exists so that a small group in society that meets in secret brotherhoods could plot for you. I told Trinidad and Tobago last night about that Aranguez flyover that was built by governments, plural, to facilitate 1% business interests who acquired farmers' farmland in Aranguez. Go lower by El Socorro. They're in business 50 years now. They never get no flyover. They never get no overpass. Why this one get it? Why they get KFC, a roundabout by KFC in Maraval? Why they get a roundabout by Westmoreland and an overpass? Just to help people get to the 1% stores. These people know how to use their money power against political parties. But their money power is useless without your consumption, without your labor, and without your vote. But Trinidadians are too lazy. And they're too, I want to say, hypocritical and selfish. Because I've never bought anything from KFC for over 20 years. I'm on a 20-year boycott with KFC. But generally, I don't buy the junk that these people sell. I don't buy the junk that the fast food companies sell because it's not good for you. But anyway, those are all side issues, and that's the problem with these live videos, because to try and make a point, you have to explain. You can't just drop it. You have to explain to people why this is your position. Why you don't want rituals in Chaguanas Market, because Chaguanas Market is supposed to be a space where small vendors who don't have the deep pockets that Mario Sabga Abood and family and friends have, that they could get a start in life and set up a business. The moment you make that available to the 1%, those with deep pockets, then all is lost for the small man. And every one of those Syrians, because I am a Syrian, and every one of those Syrians, father and grandfather and uncle, built their lives vending on the side of the road, hanging cloth outside people's store and sleeping under those same Indian people's house. I want to tell you something, Trinidadians need to remember their history, because we're never going to go forward collectively as one people under one flag as long as we allow ourselves to be divided, ridden and advantaged. The culture wars and the race wars and the identity politics that has divided Trinidad and Tobago has divided it to the point where $3 trillion could have been stolen, and we're not asking questions. The Auditor General, I've told Trinidad and Tobago for over a decade, the Auditor General is our last line of defense. And now the Auditor General's office is under attack by the government, because the Auditor General is raising issues and raising alarms that the government is not accounting for public funds being spent. And the country has to rally around the Auditor General. But again, it comes down to this. Electorally, our only strength is electorally. And right now, because we've not organized ourselves, we've allowed ourselves to be made into black, Indian, and people who don't care. That's the country. Black, Indian, and people who don't care. But all of us live in Trinidad and Tobago, and all of us have to call the same police when we have a problem and call for an ambulance and go to a hospital and turn on a tap to hope to get water and protect our homes from unnecessary mercenary taxation and the demerit points and that people want to gather for now. Well done. Gather. No problem at all. Gather, but make sure that you have a political plan, because political power is what works. And right now, the UNC is very weak. And those that are using the PNM to feed, those that are using the PNM to use all those special purpose companies to suck this country dry, because that's what they're doing. And you're not paying attention because we're lazy. We're lazy and irresponsible with our democracy, and that's why they've gotten away with it. People who didn't have a pot to piss in now living in fancy mansions in Goodwood Park in 20 years, buying up the whole of Fairways, tens of millions of dollars. They used to come to school in car that breaking down in the car park. But I want you to understand what's going on in the UNC right now. You see those 5 dissidents and Gary Griffith? That is the death of the UNC. Because if they don't stop, Because they're not dislodging Kamala. And they know they're not dislodging Kamala. But the people around Kamala, share people like Tim Gopi saying, who's very old now. He's still loyal, but he's weak. He's tired. He don't have the drive that he would have had 20 years ago. She don't have the others. The real UNC warriors, all gone. She don't have them. And these people are like, you have like Ramona Ramdial and them. They're like a pack of hyenas. If you watch on Discovery Channel, you'll see. All you need to do is just keep biting. The big animal, just keep biting. 5 of you, 6 of you, 7 of you, just keep biting until it falls long and then you kill it. The problem with killing the UNC, because make no mistake, if this continues and if Kamala cannot get herself sitting on a table with all of the people that could help get her into government, the PNM will win again. And if the PNM wins again, the final play for the 1% is the end of the UNC. The total destruction. It must collapse. You must have Devont and Vassant run one way, and Rai and Dinesh and Ramona run a next way, and everybody break apart into little segments that could never unite again. And the day that happens, there will only be one political party in this country, and that is the PNM, because you will have opposition, you know, where you might get 4 seats or 5 seats, or you may get 15 seats. Those 15 seats, not agreeing. Like what just happened in the parliament. 5 of them stay away to prove a point. You don't use the parliament for that. You don't use the parliament to stunt. You don't use the parliament for cheap politics. When you're in the parliament, you're supposed to come and represent the people and protect the people, and they did not do that. And they should pay a heavy political price for that. But I'm saying the Trinidad and Tobago, unfortunately, because you all did not support all of the movements that gave you a chance to build something different, the PNM is the enemy of the people in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm not saying that UNC is our best friend. I'm just saying UNC is our best chance. Because if we could use the UNC to break the PNM and the 1% stranglehold on power and get something else in there, we might have a chance. And if the UNC get in there and they turn out to be the same thing, well, then I give up. I will have to give up, because there will be no saving this country. We, the voters, cannot be this stupid. You cannot watch so many people give up so much of their lives trying to give you an option, and you just sit down home and sit down on your hands. It's getting very scary. Haiti didn't happen overnight. Venezuela didn't happen overnight. Iraq and Syria, those countries didn't happen overnight. There were people ringing an alarm and saying, we don't have to lose it. I'm saying again, we don't have to lose Trinidad and Tobago. There's an Ask the Tax petition outside there right now. Find it, sign it. We need 500,000 signatures. We need to be able to mobilize 100,000 people outside the Red House. And you all need to want to do that with love, with passion for your country. Because if you don't, think about what you're leaving for your children. This video went on longer than it was supposed to. And I just wanted you to understand that loving Trinidad and Tobago right now means making some tough decisions. And one of those tough decisions is either A, gather together to be a political counterpoint to everything. And that is important, because we can negotiate hard with both parties, and that's where we have to be right now. If that is not a possibility, then everybody needs to get together and support the UNC to break the PNM. And the one thing I'm going to ask Kamala to do right now is to stop Faiq Mohammed and rituals in the Chaguanas market. Because if Kamala Prasad Bisesa cannot control Faiq Mohammed allowing rituals into the Chaguanas market, then I will have to say that the UNC is the same thing as the PNM where the 1% is concerned. And I will literally shut up. Because you can't force people to love you. And you can't force people to stand up for themselves. If people don't want to stand up for their country, then you had to watch it. And you had to say, well, we knew. I don't know what's the benefit of foreknowledge if you can't use it to forestall or change an impending problem, but I don't know. That's for God and history to decide. I'm watching Guardian giving other people credit for things that I have been saying for years, separating members of parliament from the ministers. I don't mind. Satish just said to me, Philip, maybe your role was just to put the information in the public space and open people's eyes. That's all right. That's all right. But I'm saying to Trinidad and Tobago, we still have a chance. All is not lost. And you could hate the UNC, and I don't blame you because they do some shit, and you could hate Kamala, but I'm telling you, if the PNM gets back into power in 2025, you will never be able to move them again. And it is not the PNM that will be in power. It will be the secret brotherhood and the 1% and the contract mafia, and there'll be nothing left. You will be slaves to a machine. You will eat what they tell you that you could afford to eat, and you will work under conditions that they dictate. And the value of your money will be dictated by others, and you will rue the day that you lost these opportunities, because I'm saying all is not lost yet, but it could be lost. We have a chance if we organize ourselves politically and exert that power. Right now, the UNC is desperate for power. If everybody stand around the UNC, the dissidents will shut up or they will fade away. You have to decide. Are we going to use the UNC to break the PNM and then hold the UNC to account? Or are we just going to lose the country? You have to decide. You have all the information. Have a good day, Trinidad and Tobago.
Morning, Mr. Minister. I got you a Christmas present. I don't know if you will accept it. Victor Roberts is his name. Victor Roberts. I got you this present here, sir. It's a casket representing the death of the thousands of citizens that continue to die under your watch. So good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. I am here by the Minister of Health, Minister Terence Dayal Singh, who just came out, and I asked him if he'll receive this gift that I have brought to him this morning, representing the number of deaths of our citizens because of his incompetence and because of the incompetency of our government, who cares nothing about the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So I brought it this morning. He came out, he had a look, and so he went back inside. I think by now he probably going to get the feds. But ladies and gentlemen, we cannot accept 37 deaths. And I said earlier on that this will go up to 50 and 60 as we go forward. Because the government, they have not put any stringent measure in place in relation to provide the necessary equipment, oxygen, and as you see here, unacceptable 60 ventilators. All right, we have people dying in our hospitals because simply they have no ventilator, no beds, no nurse, no doctors, no professionals. So what should we do? Put our hands up in the air and surrender? Or should we allow our citizens to continue to lie in this casket? This is unacceptable. And I am saying that there is no better time than to bring a present for the minister. So he asked me who? I said Victor Roberts. And I brought a present for him on behalf of the citizens who die in this country because of the government and the minister's negligence.
Rights and human rights.
And it's that.